3, 2, 1, let's go.
It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. Okay, guys, happy Monday. So, guys, it's Monday, and you know what that means. We're either here to talk about one of two things. That's Real Housewives of Potomac or 90 Day Fiancé the other way. Okay, so it's not Potomac right now, so 90 Day Fiancé the other way. Guys, if you haven't already, before we get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. This is always a live discussion for all of us to jump in, so I do encourage everybody. I'm going to drop the link once we get started. That way you guys can start calling in, and then as we go through the couples, we'll just bring people up if you feel like it. Okay, guys, I want to start, even though I made the thumbnail about this, about Ariela and Biniyam. And yes, I do believe she's back in the States after talking to Max Celeb Talk Guy and seeing more photos that have surfaced with her in a different setting. I'll get to that when I talk about Ariela and Biniyam. But let's start with Jenny and Sumit. So guys, Jenny and Sumit, in this episode, they're battling with what we've all been kind of going through this year. 2020 is the year of COVID. It's our pandemic year. And we see that they were obviously going through this while they were filming. When we see that Jenny and Sumit have finally gotten some clearance to go and, I guess, talk to a marriage lawyer, go down to Delhi and talk to a marriage lawyer, Jenny seems pretty excited. Now, I do have to say, before we move on to the marriage lawyer, I love the fact that Sumit was trying with this little package thing that hangs around your neck as if that is the cure for COVID. And coronavirus, like Jenny said, who knows if it'll work? It's a nice gesture. He's just trying to protect her. And at least he's trying to protect her from something, because it doesn't seem like he tries to protect her from anything else as far as keeping her around, just navigating this whole marriage thing. Guys, I'm so confused with this couple. Honestly, they have me so swayed. But anyways, Jenny and Sumit go and finally talk to a marriage lawyer, and they get good news. The news that they ended up getting was the fact that they don't need the parents to give them their permission in order to get married. They can actually go ahead and get married and finally be together. And Jenny won't have to come back to the United States, right? Well, it's not exactly that easy, because Sumit seems like he's starting to get cold feet. Now, yes, it's a breath of fresh air to find out that they can be together and that they don't have to get the parents' blessing. But like Sumit says, it's easier for them and better if the parents are on board and the family's on board. Because Sumit doesn't want to get shunned from his family. Nobody would, right? So as he's starting to express his concerns to Jenny, Jenny's kind of like, no, what are you talking about? We have a visa. My visa's going to run out. We need to do this. He's like, trust me, I love you. We're going to get it done, blah, blah, blah. So Sumit ends up, I guess, recruiting the help of his brother, Amit, and he comes to let Jenny and Sumit know, listen, this is probably not going to work. If you guys go and get married or do this ring ceremony and everything else without the family knowing, there are going to be ramifications, like repercussions. You can't just go and do whatever you want in this culture behind the family's back and then think that nobody's going to have a problem with it. Obviously, the respect of Sumit's parents, that's a huge deal. And I don't know if Jenny really understands that yet. She seems like she just wants them to accept her, and why can't we just be together? But like Amit said, you're a little bit older. They think that you're too old for Sumit. They think that they're not going to have any grandchildren from you. And they probably don't like the way that she entered into that relationship, kind of causing Sumit to get a divorce from his current wife at the time. I'm going to go ahead and bring up one of our callers. And guys, 115 in the room already. Wow. Go ahead and hit that like button, and we'll move on to the next couple after this caller. Hi, Kim.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Did you watch last night?
I watched today.
Okay. That's fair.
Yes, so, I have been binge watching everything, and my husband got hung up on what's the name of the boat show?
The boat show. Deck.
Yeah, that one. Oh my gosh, he had to go back and watch everything. He loves it, but
gosh, we'll make a fan out of him.
Absolutely. Now he'll never show up on TV. He won't even show up on my videos, not even his hands.
Aw.
So I have to cut him out of everything. But
Well,
anyway,
no, I love that. So when back to Ginny and Simit really quick, when we were watching them last night or this morning, how do you feel about finally finding out that they can get married and they don't need the parents' permission?
well, I'm going to say the same thing I said, I think, last time we talked about him. He's always had an excuse not to marry her. And now that he doesn't have one and it's all okay, he's looking for one. Because I don't really think he wants to marry her.
Okay, so you feel like no matter what, he's going to keep finding a reason for her to eventually go home.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, his culture will always frown on him. His parents will, just disown him. And I don't think he wants that.
I just don't. I mean, I've asked this multiple times for anybody who ever calls in. What does Samit have to gain out of this relationship? Unless he's just technically using her for the meantime, kind of as like a sugar mama and living off of her social security and getting a little bit of screen time. What does he really have to gain?
That's it. And a little bit of money from TLC. And I think that's all he's getting out of it is just money from whichever angle he can get.
Okay.
Because he's not working. He doesn't work anywhere else. I mean, he does his cameos, but
that's about it. Okay. And now if they go and they have this ring ceremony and they end up following through, again, a ring ceremony doesn't make them married. It's almost like an engagement, right? It's the next proper step. But that's not enough to keep her in India. So they still have to get married. Are you calling right now that this is not going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
I think she's going to go right back to her daughter's couch.
Okay. And, I do have to say also really quick before we move on to the next couple, Kim, it excites me not knowing the outcome of this relationship yet, unlike Devin and Jihoon, Brittany and Yazan, and all these other couples that we already know what the fate is.
Right.
All right.
It's still a question. It's just like Ariel and Biniyam.
We're still
up and down, back and forth.
Yeah, we have some new information, so hopefully it's good. But Kim, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down, move on to the next couple, and if you stick around, I'll bring you back up. Carrie, I also see you and a few others. All right. All right, guys, 150 in the room. If you haven't already, make sure you hit like, and let's move on to the next couple. Ariela and Biniyam. So Ariela's parents show up to Ethiopia, and you could tell she knew that her dad is going to be a little bit weary. She coached Biniyam in advance, saying, address him this way, treat him this way, and you should be a little bit nervous about my parents coming. Well, I feel like when they first arrived that they were being pretty open with Biniyam and kind of accepting the culture. And I love Ariela's mom. I think she's just a straight shooter, and it is what it is, but she tries to see both sides. That's what I really love about her. But Ariela's dad is starting to point out everything that's kind of wrong, in my opinion. He doesn't like the living conditions. He doesn't like, he doesn't like not only the living conditions of Ariela and Biniyam, but also just the neighborhood with the barbed wire on the fences, blah, 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 and so on. He also thinks that Biniyam needs to get a real job, needs to get a job with a bigger salary. And to be honest with you, the man already has 5 jobs. So what real job do you want him to get? I think really, though, what Ariela's dad is pushing for is something a little bit more substantial than dancing at a nightclub. Now, when Ariela starts not complaining, but talking about some of her concerns with Biniyam in front of her parents, you can totally tell that she's comfortable now. She's comfortable, and she is showing that she has the full support of her parents right there in Ethiopia. She's calling out the things that have been annoying her the most, like Biniyam getting up and walking out 10 minutes before he has to go to work without saying anything. When Ariela's parents asked, is this normal? He's like, for me in my country, yes, it kind of is normal because I don't have to explain as the man to the woman every time I'm doing something. But for Ariela, that's not going to fly. I think that her parents are playing good again with the trying to show both sides. But Ariela's mom is like, no, for us, we like to know what you're doing, where you're going, and have open communication. For Biniyam, he's like, I don't really understand this. When they're moving through their part or portion of this episode, we get to see Ariela and her parents sit down with Biniyam and his sisters. Now, the fact that they came to the table, not like they're not playing. They're just, again, straight shooters and calling it what it is. This was an uncomfortable situation. The conversation was so off. When Ariela's sitting there talking to the sisters, they're pointing out to her parents that she gets mad. She screams in the middle of the street. She causes a lot of attention to them. And she treats Biniyam like nobody else in Ethiopia treats their man. She treats him kind of like he's here and she's here, I guess. Now, I don't necessarily know if that is the case. And I thought Ariela's mom did a good job at justifying Ariela's behavior, saying, I don't think she has the full support here that she would have back in the States. They feel like Biniyam has all the support from his sisters and the family, but Ariela doesn't really have that much support at all. I don't necessarily agree with that, though. I think that Biniyam's family is trying to shower her with support, but also in the Ethiopian culture, like, again, bringing the lamb or the sheep or whatever to sacrifice it. Everybody showing up next to her bedside after she had the baby. They have different ways and mechanisms of how they're going to show Ariela their support. Now, if Ariela picks up on that or if she doesn't, that's kind of up to her at this point. She's the one who decided to go to a new country. She's the one who decided to adapt to that culture. So she has to kind of roll with the punches here. When they're sitting there talking across the table, the hard conversation of religion comes up and whether or not baby Abi is going to be baptized. Okay, this is where it got awkward. So when Biniyam's sisters are sitting there saying that if he does not, in fact, get baptized, the baby will go to H-E-double-L. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, so I just wanted to censor it. But the baby will go to H-E-double-L. And who wants to hear that? Who wants to hear that their kid is possibly going to go down if you don't baptize them? Especially when you're sitting across from a Jewish man who has a completely, different way of looking at this. It's not just one-sided, and it can't just be Biniyam's family's point of view. But like they said, you did agree to it, Ariela. And this is kind of where it just gets a little bit sassy and disrespectful. When Ariela starts talking and saying, I think you guys dipping him in some water and just like splashing him around, I've justified it in my head. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But like her mom said, once you baptize the baby into that faith, the baby is now a part of that faith. So however you're trying to justify it in your head, go for it. But that doesn't really cut it. Okay. When the sisters look at her across the table and tell her that she's starting to act like his ex, it just seems like this conversation is going nowhere. I thought it was uncomfortable. I thought it was awkward. And I see why Celeb Talk guy Max, who came on with us the other day to do the TLC takeover, pointed out that Ariela could very much so be back in the States. Guys, if you go on Instagram and you see photos of Ariela, you can find them, and it doesn't look like she's in Ethiopia anymore. I think she's done a very good job of keeping with her NDA. I think that TLC, like obviously, if you break the NDA like Devin and Jihoon, you lose the money that comes with it, and it also presents other problems. And NDA is a very important thing, especially when you're dealing with a major network. Now, I think she's done a very good job of keeping all of this under wraps, just like who was... Oh God, her mind. She's gonna come to mind any second, but it was our last season of 90 Day couple, the one from Russia. I don't know. I'll think of it. Varya. They did a great job of posting the whole time. Oh, we're still together, and this is how it is. Even though obviously they weren't together after Varya showed up to Tennessee when Mary was there. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyways, I just respect the fact that she's keeping her NDA. Guys, 232 in the room. If you haven't hit like already, go ahead and hit like. Let's bring up our next caller to talk about Ariela and Biniyam, and then we'll move on. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Ada. I'm sorry, I'm not following that couple.
It's okay. I'll drop you down now. I'll bring you right back up for the next one.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Mimi.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. By the way, I absolutely love your show, and I think you've got such an amazing personality. Sorry, that's my little baby in the background.
No, that's okay. Wow, I'll keep you around. You're a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you. With Ariela and Biniyam, I feel like Ariela is getting a lot of
No, you're okay.
Ariela's getting a lot of stick. Sorry, that's such a UK term. She's getting a lot of backlash because of how she's behaving. She's really emotional. Oh gosh, I'm really sorry, Adam.
No, you're okay.
I don't want to annoy the viewers.
Oh, do you want me to drop you down for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll bring you back up. But hey,
Sure.
listen, we're talking about Ariela and Biniyam and their baby, so this was very on brand.
Thank you.
All right, we'll bring you back, Mimi.
Sure, thanks.
All right. Kim, it sounds like Mimi has her hands full.
It does. Bless her heart.
All right.
I've been there.
So, Kim, did you, obviously you watched it this morning, Ariela and Biniyam. I'm excited to talk about this couple because, again, we don't know anything about what the future holds for them, just kind of like Ginny and Samit. They haven't broken their NDA, so we get to speculate.
So, and again, I say she's already back in the U.S. I really believe that. Her dad she was doing good trying to hide the fact they were having issues, but her parents saw right through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like her dad said, he didn't believe it would work. He was hopeful, but.
Well, and I think that the sisters kind of exposed more of the truth without even, I don't think they were really trying to throw Ariela under the bus because, like they said, we're not trying to disrespect you, but we're just being very forthcoming with this information of, listen, if your parents are acting how you're behaving here, it's odd. You yell, you get aggressive, you get angry, and they're kind of throwing her under the bus.
But yeah, it's true, but yeah.
So do you agree with Ariela's? Well, I was going to say, do you agree with Ariela's mom in the sense that she doesn't have support? Because a lot of people are commenting on these videos and saying, no, that's not true. Biniyam's family has shown nothing but support ever since she got there. It's just maybe not the same support that she's used to.
Right. It's not the same support. And if I were in her shoes, I would feel like everybody was against me because they are pushing the baptism, which she is not. And regardless as to how I personally feel about baptism and everything, she's not good with it. So, and that's her baby. And she feels like everybody's pushing her to do what she doesn't want to do and looking down on her because she doesn't share their view. And I can understand where she doesn't have the support she's used to.
Okay. But I could see that. But then also, how did you feel watching her kind of diminish the whole concept of what the baptism means to them?
She has no right to do that either. But just like they have no right to go against her and be rude about it, she doesn't either. That's their culture. That's their belief. She needs to respect that. And I really don't know if I were in that position, how I would handle it with him being so far one way and her being so far the other, and then the baby stuck in the middle. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Okay. I'm going to bring up another caller with us and see what their opinion is. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Is it Maya?
Maya, yes.
Hi, Maya. This is a first-time caller.
Yes, I was like, oh, wow, look at this. I made it through. I'm shocked.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, welcome.
I actually just like happened to see this. I got a message. I'm like, oh, who is this? I'm like, oh, let me try this. I'm like, oh, I'm shocked. I'm like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, no.
Hang around.
Yeah, we're happy that you called. And I mean, I guess I should start off by asking, did you watch last night's 90 Day Fiancé?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
This is what I think about Little Miss Sassy Pants. I realized that she's had a baby. I've had 6 children. I've had all my children C-section. I get it, and it's very stressful. Like my first 3 C-sections, it was very hard on me because, especially my first one, I didn't think I was a woman because I couldn't have my child natural. And it was very hard, and it's very stressful. And I totally get that, and I feel for her on that aspect. However, when she says my baby, it took 2 people to make this baby. Stop saying, give me my baby. No, this is our child. That irritates me so much. And as for getting him baptized, okay, my children are biracial, and my children, I'm an American, obviously, not obviously, but I am an American, and so I bat my children on both faiths because that appeased me and that appeased their father because their father is Catholic. So I
Okay.
baptize them both ways. So
So are
I
you
don't
suggesting
believe,
that this could be an option for her to do
yes,
both?
just do both. Do I think God is going to send a child to hell? Absolutely not. However, this is their faith. So if this is what you want to do, okay, fine, and explain to them your personal, response. I don't think that God would send a child to hell if I do not baptize the child. However, since your faith feels this way, I will do this for you. However, I'm also going to let I'm also going to do this my way as well for
No,
my faith. My child will be brought up both ways to make that decision when my child gets older because my children go to Catholic school. I'm not Catholic. My children, because I've adopted two boys, they're not Catholic, but it's just the best school to send them to. So you know what I'm saying?
right. So maybe as the baby gets older, they can introduce both faiths and then
Okay.
let the baby make the decision as the
Right.
baby becomes more of an adult.
Exactly. Give the child both aspects of it, and if she's there at this moment, then you need to quit saying my baby because that just irritates me to heavens
No,
and back.
that's fair.
But
And real quick, Maya, before we move on to
yeah,
the next couple, do
I'm
you
sorry.
feel like Ariela is staying in the staying in Ethiopia, or do you think she's back in the United States?
I truly think she probably came back to the United States. I think mom and dad like, yeah, you need to come home. He's trying. He is trying, but she feels that he's not there enough. But you have to remember, honey, it's a very poor country. He's got to work to make ends meet, and if and the child should be older by now. So why can't you go out and like maybe help, and get even just a little small job,
Better jump
because a
on
lot
those
of places.
cameos like the rest of them.
Amen on that, honey. But thank you so very much. This
Oh,
was great.
thank you, Maya. Thank you for calling in, and please, anytime.
Yes. All right. You guys have a blessed day.
Oh, you
You have a
too.
blessed day.
All right. All right. And Kim, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down for just a second and then go on to the next couple. And if you're around, I'll bring you back up.
All righty then.
All right. Guys, I see Mimi's back in the room. I see Queen Bee's in here. Hermione. Oh, Hermione, it's always great to see you. I'll bring you up in a second. Let's move on to the next couple. Okay. So I want to talk about Tim and Melissa really quick. Tim and Melissa, I think we can all agree by saying that this couple is just not going to last. This couple is not going to work. All of you guys, as well as myself, so I'm not just going to put words in your mouth, we all kind of agree that she had him come out to Colombia almost as a get back at him for cheating on her in the first place. I mean, it's been uncomfortable ever since we started watching the first episode and how she treats him. She kind of beats up on him a little bit. She's a little cold, and she has every right to be. Listen, if you cheated on me, I would be very cold to you too. But I wouldn't even try to salvage this relationship. Now, when Tim is sitting there talking with his mom, who is now in Colombia, I was surprised. I thought his mom was going to come in with a vengeance and get ready to take Tim out of Colombia and bring him back home to the United States. Now, sure, he's a big boy. He's an adult and he can make his own decisions, but I thought she was really going to push the issue. And that's not exactly what we got from his mom. She seemed supportive. She likes Colombia. She thinks it's beautiful. And she seems supportive of the relationship. She's just really asking Tim to question, is this right? Do you think this is going to work? And what are we doing as far as jobs and blah, blah, blah. Now, Tim, which Melissa doesn't know this yet, but Tim is sitting on this kind of anxious situation of knowing that he needs a job and he's running out of money really fast. Now, Tim did say at the beginning of the season that he kept his job in the United States. I guess he took a little vacation, took some vacation time just in case things didn't work out in Colombia. I thought everything was going well for this couple until we get in front of the therapist and Melissa finds out that, Tim is a little wish-washy about what he's going to do. this kind of seems like it set them back again. And I don't even know if you can say set them back, because I don't know where they went to begin with. But I'm going to bring up another caller just to see. Hi, Hermione.
Hi there. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Congrats on your 20,000 subscribers.
Oh, thank you.
I think that is so awesome.
I appreciate that, Hermione. Thank you. And you got everything kind of moved and situated? I know that you were moving some stuff around and you had a lot going on. So.
Yes, don't talk about it, otherwise I'll cry.
No, let's not. We don't want to cry. Let's sit here and hash it out on Tim and Melissa.
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, both of them are for me a little bit the oddest couple that I've seen. I don't see a lot of affection that they have between them. Melissa is a very cold type person. Tim is in there halfway because he took a sabbatical from his work. So, he can go back to where he came from, or he's trying to make this work. It did sound like the mom was trying, are you sure you want to stay? Is this exactly what you want to do? Is this going to work? But if you talk from a cheating point of view, that's never, ever going to go away. You might have a pizza 5 years down the line and it's going to trigger some, yeah, but you cheated on me. So I think cheating is for life.
And I think that's why Lisa's parents said you have to kind of, at the very beginning, they're like, you got to take this behind the barn and, just shoot it, because this isn't going to work. Oh, did you freeze? Oh, I think Hermione freezed. Bring her down. Let's see when it unfreezes. Hermione? That's all right. We'll bring Hermione back up in a minute. We have a few other callers, but no, I agree. You do have to kind of address this and take care of it as soon as it happens. When you have something, cheating is for life. You don't forget it. Once it happens, it happens. Once you know about it, you're not going to fully trust that person anymore, and you feel violated. Your relationship has lost a level of respect. And for Tim and Melissa, I think that this is very apparent. But we don't have to give them too much time. Let's keep it moving. I want to talk about Brittany and Yazan. Okay. So Brittany and Yazan, I thought that we were making strides. Honestly, when I saw her get completely wasted with her friend, not wasted, but she was drunk, tipsy pants. It seemed like she was looking for a fight, looking for a challenge, and knowing that Yazan was going to react bad. But Yazan didn't give her that moment. Yazan came and picked up Brittany and her friend from the bar, and he could smell it on her. He could see it in her face, and she was acting, she showed. Yazan wanted to take Brittany to the barber shop because he just wants her to be proud of him. He wanted to show, look, I have this barber shop. This is what I'm doing for you. This is going to be our life, and I want to show you. Now, he had multiple moments in this situation where he could have been annoyed. He could have gotten mad. Like, one, the way she was dressed, he's already addressed that. For him, he doesn't like that too much, and that's why he asked her, are you cold, and tried to cover her up. And then secondly, she shows up, little tips pants, when she knows that's completely disrespectful to him. And then third, when they get to the barber shop, when she tells him to sit down, I'm going to cut your hair. And he's like, what do you mean? And no, finally. Then she's playing around with scissors right in his face and finally takes a chunk off. She knew what she was doing. And honestly, for anybody, this would have been so annoying. Watching Brittany act like that is just, you're acting like a child. And for what reason? You're waiting for Yazan to react in front of your friend. That way you can look and be like, nope, this is why I can't be with this man. See, girl, this is why I can't stay with him, because he's crazy. But Yazan didn't give her that moment. When she says to him, trying to have the hard conversations that her friend pushed for, which I thought that was interesting, almost like her friend was wearing a producer cap. She was like, do you still want me to convert to being Muslim? And he's like, no, honestly, you don't have to anymore. And guys, if you remember, I had Sad Star podcast on here, and she explained that when you're Muslim, you can marry other faiths, Christian, and if there was one more, so I don't want to just make it up or butcher it, but you can, in fact, marry into another faith, and that's okay, as long as they're one of those faiths, right? So Brittany seems like she's good to go, and this is going to work. And then she asked the next question. I don't want to get married in 30 days. How about we wait a year? And I thought it was going good. He's like, okay, I think, to me, this is a good idea. We'll wait a year. So it seems like Brittany's getting all the answers that she wanted. But then once we revert back to her confessional, she's sitting there talking about how he agrees to these things in the moment and then he retracts them later in time once his parents start getting under his skin or really putting the pressure on. Okay, so this is where it gets bad. He immediately, as soon as we get more into their storyline in this part of the episode, and we see them at a different point without the friend there, Yazan did exactly what Brittany said he was going to do. He retracted and said, babe, I can't have a girlfriend. You know, we can't not get married for a year. We need to get married in 30 days. And she's like, what? You know, that's not what we talked about. We know this couple is not going to last. We know that they're not together anymore. And we knew that this was a doomed pre-produced storyline from the get-go. I'm kind of over them. I'm glad that this season is coming to an end because I really don't want to see any more of Brittany and Yazan. But what I did want to say was I was surprised at how well Yazan handled himself, especially when Brittany knew what triggers to push or what buttons to push, triggers to pull, buttons to push, whatever. She knew what she was doing. And he didn't give her that moment. He didn't react. So I have to say, we're proud of you, Yazan. Hi, Kim.
Hey.
All right. Brittany and Yazan. You're over them?
I'm over them. I've been over them. I've been over Brittany since she's been Boss Brittany on Instagram and I'm over them.
Okay. I mean, were you surprised though at how much patience Yazan had?
I believe that they concocted this whole story together. It was never really a storyline. It was just fake from the beginning. So I think he's just following his script.
Well, he said that he was going to explain to her why he now needs to change his mind and get married in 30 days. And there's so much that goes into it. And he wants to get a translator to help him really explain everything. Do you think that would do any justice in this situation?
Not really.
Okay. So we're just beating a dead horse.
Right.
Okay.
They're too far apart to come together. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Culturally, beliefs, just everything, all across the board.
Yep. Brittany's all one way and he's all the other, and there is no middle ground.
All right. That's fair. And since I have you up here, we'll just go ahead and hit the other two couples only because there's not so much that happened with Devin and Ji-hoon. We see Mama Alicia's back, and I love that Ji-hoon is just terrified of this woman because it honestly,
right?
It's kind of funny, but she really is. She is kind of scary.
She's very intimidating. Yeah. Whenever she hugged him, he looked like a ghost. I mean, it looked like he didn't know what to do.
No, he's like shaking. And even he said, he's like, when she comes, I feel like I'm going to pee myself, but she's intense. If she has something to say, she's going to say it. And she snaps at like the drop of a pen. You could think you're having a great conversation and things are going one way. And then all of a sudden she's like, what the? And just loses it.
I like her because my mom was a lot like that. My mom was never mean, but what came up, came out. She had no filter. I mean, she told you what she thought. And I kind of laugh at that because she does remind me of my mom. But I don't know. I think if I were on the other side, I'd be intimidated too.
Well, they did show up to support Devin. So she had family there for her wedding. But I guess my biggest question is, did they show up to support her for the wedding? Or is this the final moment where we get to see Devin go back to the United States? Because again, we know that Devin's here. We know that she came back to the States. And she probably violated her NDA worse than anybody on TLC ever has.
Right. Yeah, she's already back over here, got a new boyfriend and everything else. So again, their storyline is just, I'm done with it too.
But could this have been the moment that made her go home? Is that maybe what we're about to catch?
Maybe.
But she also did say, Devin did come out and do an interview and say that, you know, they tell her what to say. They tell her what to say in her confessionals. They tell her how to act. They completely, that TLC and the producers completely orchestrate everything to do with the Devin and Jihu storyline, almost leading us to believe that no storyline is in fact a real storyline.
Yeah, it's made me question every one of them, because you can sit there and look and say, okay, that's scripted, but everything about Jihoon and Devin is. So,
but then it makes you also question it, because you obviously didn't script having a baby. She still had a baby with this man. So is it just what we see on TV must be scripted? And then they have some sort of, there has to be like a 2% to this whole storyline that is truth. So, which is obviously the relationship and where she got pregnant right away and they're having this baby. But then TLC, takes this little egg and hatches it, grows it into a storyline?
Right.
Okay.
Because they fell apart so quick and they were already in the show, the TLC had to come up with something to keep viewers watching.
I get that. All right. Well, speaking of fake and not fake storylines, I want to move on to this last one. But before we do, guys, 300 in the room, go ahead and hit like. Let's help us get more eyes on it. And Kim, do you mind just ending this video off with me on the last couple?
Not at all.
All right. So Kenny and Armando, they go back to the marriage office to pick up their official denial letter. This was really a cringeworthy moment.
Yes, and one of the big problems I had with that was them involving Hannah in it. Hannah did not need to know right now what all's going on. She's young. She lost her mom, and that tore up that relationship, obviously, that bond. And now she looks at Kenny as her family, and all she would understand from this is, okay, they're saying we can't all be together as a family.
Right.
I mean, that has got to be terrible on that little girl. They didn't need to say anything to her.
Right. I agree with you. I don't think that they should have necessarily involved her, only because, you know, denying for same-sex marriage and what that means over there, like, that's way bigger than what is going on through little Hannah's mind. She's an intelligent little girl, but this is way beyond and so much more. Like, there's so many. So I guess there's just a lot of dimension to this topic. And I agree with you. I think she's way too young to be included on that conversation.
And see, they are so far back from the U.S. in same-sex marriages. And even as much as we've progressed over here and it's legal, I think in all states now, there's still a big issue about it, you know. And if we as adults are having such a hard time with it, then what does a child do with it? She can't absorb that.
I agree with that. Well, now it seems like because they involved little Hannah in it, now she knows that they have to go back to the Human Rights Office. And did you even see little Hannah? I mean, they all reacted. She even reacted. She called the guy an ugly trickster.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Do you think that this will work out for Kenny and Armando? Will they end up being able to get approved their marriage?
I don't know, because I don't know Mexican culture and law. That they would do better to come to the U.S. in terms of their relationship. I know that would put a hardship on Hannah, leaving everything that she's ever known,
right,
and starting new.
But a lot of people say that it would offer little Hannah a lot more opportunity if they brought her to the United States.
I do agree with that.
But then, but Kim, also, just to play devil's advocate, then we get a lot of callers who think that, you know, America isn't necessarily the best place to raise a family. And sometimes your cultural values and beliefs, that is more important than coming to what we call the land of opportunity.
I understand that too. That's why this is such a difficult situation. I mean, I really understand that, because I'm finding out personally lately that family is everything. You know, no matter what everybody thinks, it's family. It's who you've got there at the end of the day versus what what opportunity is next door.
Well,
So
it seems like they might actually have more support though in the United States from family, really, because if they're not going to live next to Armando's family in Mexico and they moved little Hannah away from all of them, they
then
don't
his
really have
daughters
any
would
support.
absolutely love her.
Yeah.
Kenny's daughters. I mean, Kenny's family would welcome that little girl with open arms, as well as Armando. He'd get a much better reception from Kenny's family than Kenny got from his.
I agree with you. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I do have to say that I know that they are still together. And the only reason I know is because just being on, well, Sherelle is good friends with Armando. So I know that they're still together. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how this whole marriage thing plays out. I don't know that aspect of it. And I don't know if they're still together in the United States now or if they're still together still in Mexico, if it got approved, denied, what happened. But I do know they're still a couple. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I can't wait.
All right. Well, Kim, I really appreciate you kind of holding this show down with me today. You were awesome.
Well, I love you. I appreciate you.
Well, I love you too. I appreciate you calling in, and I love that your husband is now on board with the boat show Below Deck. So we have a new Bravo fan. That's exciting. And Kim, if you're around later, I'm going to be jumping on to do. We're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac later. I believe 2:00 Eastern time.
Okay, it's 1:00 my time. I'll try because I got that 2:00.
Hey, if you're a busy woman, we understand.
Okay, well, I'll catch you one way or another.
All right. Thanks, Kim. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Everybody have a blessed day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that was so awesome. Again, we have over 300 in the room. This was a great time today. We're almost done with 90 Day Fiancé the other way. It's almost finally off our screens, which is exciting. We're about to get a whole new batch of people. I mean, kind of a new batch of people. Some of them are old, but you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, stick around. I'm sure we have other things popping up later. And if anything comes up that's in the Bravo world or anything else, I promise you, I will make a video, shed some light on the topic, and we will talk about it. Until then, I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.